Welcome to the Ditzy Chicks with Jamie and Mary.
I'm Jamie.
I'm Mary. I sound like a screamo dude. I'm Mary.
You sound like Muscle Man.
You know who else is named Mary? My mom. Did Toby just bark?
Yeah,
Oh, okay. The dog's going nuts.
I think he's barking at you. He's like, who the fuck is that in my house?
Muscle Man. Oh, he's outside.
Oh, that's why we can hear him. We got an open window up in here. Up in here. Up in here.
Cool your
Oh,
rocks, dude.
somebody's walking down the road. That's why.
Yeah. Anyway, cool your rocks, dude. Oh.
Chill out, bruh.
Okay, but
Get the net.
today we're gonna talk about our high school experiences because everybody, right?
Yes,
because
because
everybody's
you
gone
all
back to
want to
school.
hear about it.
I know. We graduated so long ago, and we're gonna hope we can. I know for sure I can remember because it wasn't that long ago for me. But you've
Thanks,
got
Mary.
you've got like what 9 years on me. Old
I've
bitch.
got 12 years.
12?
I think 13. I graduated in 2010.
I graduated in 2019, Jamie.
I know. You are significantly younger than me.
Yeah, but you're only 7 years older than Dylan. You're 9 years older than me.
I graduated when I was 17.
Holy fuck.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm a
well,
youngin'.
For graduating years, there's 9-year difference. So
Yeah, I was back
13
in the
years?
early 2000s. Yeah, it's 2023 right now. So that means this past May was 13 years since I've
You're not
graduated high
13
school.
years older than me. Am I stupid? I just
You might be
connected
stupid.
You might be stupid if your name is Mary. You might be stupid. Oh, I can't make that joke. I can't make that joke.
If you can't do regular math, you might be stupid.
Oh my god, I need to do those that Cracker Barrel game with the like golf tee, the peg game, you know, because it has like the if you get whatever you're an ignoramus. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Anyways, we're gonna talk about high school.
The third time I ever played that game when we were at Cracker Barrel, I'm pretty sure I was like 10.
Mm-hmm.
I did that game and I ended up with one thing, and I was like, oh, I won it. And Dad's like, no, you fucking didn't. And I'm like, yes, I did. And he's like, well, I didn't see it. And I'm like, but I did.
Oh my god.
And I'm an honest person. Like, I don't fucking lie about shit because I know I have it. Well, there's no point. It's a waste of time for me to try to continue the lie.
Right. Because usually if you lie about something, you have to continuously cover it up. I know because I have a parent that lies.
And also I have a terrible poker face. And I know that. So I just don't. Like, it's just so much easier to tell the truth. But I was like, sorry. I have a terrible Lady Gaga. But I did I solved it and I felt so good about myself and nobody believed me. And I'm like, why wouldn't you guys believe me? I'm the one that tells the truth and like I'm the truther. I am the truther.
You calling me a liar?
Yeah. And you know what? Speaking of that, this morning, fucking 7:02, woke up and I'm like, I'm gonna take an IQ test. I fucking took this IQ test.
Who the fuck, Jamie, wakes up and says, I'm just going to take an IQ test real quick?
Somebody who needs to make sure she's still superior over everybody else. Sue. Some fucking crazy ass person that needs to be on medication. That's so
funny. You know what I do when I wake up in the morning?
Not take an IQ test?
I was going to make a joke.
You're ruining this joke, Mary.
And I wake up in the morning and I step outside and I recently saw Dolly Parton sing that and it was gorgeous. It was beautiful.
Really?
It was on TikTok. I'll have to show you.
I gotta look that up.
It was honestly. I don't like that song. I don't like it. I don't like his voice, but I loved it. I don't like her. His.
It's a her.
Them.
It's her.
I know.
It's a women band. That's 4 non-blondes. They are women.
Oh, see, I didn't fucking know that. It sounds like a dude.
Because you didn't grow up.
It sounds
in
like
the 90s, like I did.
It sounds like if
Depilepsy.
I'm picturing Johnny Depp singing "Pour Some Sugar on Me." Jesus, I'm so sorry.
Johnny Depp singing "Pour some poop on my bed."
I would like to move on. It doesn't even matter what I was going to say because it
doesn't even matter.
Oh, anyways, you get that unresolved sentence because I'm not finishing it. That's what she said.
All right, moving on. Should we just change the subject altogether?
Yeah. So we're gonna talk about high school. Do you want to start first? Since
I definitely want to read this Supernatural script.
Oh my god,
that we promised our audience.
Fucking forgot about that.
Fucking idiot.
Oh, okay, so
you're an ignoramus.
I ignorant Sam. Oh, okay. So we're gonna read Act 4 of Supernatural.
Oops. It's actually very short. So if this is painful for you guys to listen to, you're only gonna be in pain for like 2 minutes.
I'm all phlegmy from laughing.
Phlegmy from. Laugh a phlegm. Phlegm a laugh.
Remy from Ratatouille. I gotta find it again. I accidentally closed it out.
Oh, I found it really quick. If you go to the text messages that we sent each other.
No, it's in my Google Docs, but I have to scroll through and find Act 4 again.
Oh, okay. Because that's what I did. Like, I was like trying to find it, and then I was like, I'm just gonna go to like our text messages. But because you sent it to me like a month ago, I just went to like all of our links that we sent each other because it's like organized, and it was like right there. Yeah, I'm like, oh, this is super easy.
I have it saved in my Google Docs. So, what the? Got you on the way. So you already read that. In the Impala. Act 4. Okay.
Oh, also, there is a woman named Jenny in this episode. And it looks like... Oh! Okay, sorry. I just saw Casa Erotica #1.
Yeah, I also saw that.
I'm excited for that. And I think it's literally just Dean and Jenny. So do you want to be Jenny?
I can be Jenny. Okay. So do you want me to start it off or do you
Jenny,
want to start
Jenny, who can I turn to? Din, 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 din.
Jenny, I've got you. It took me a second.
There you go.
I'm working on one brain cell today, Jamie. Work is going to be so
obviously.
Much fun to me. Obviously.
Yes. Yeah. I love that.
Here, I'll start it off. Act 4. Interior motel room. Day. Dean is asleep, fully dressed, on a bed with an iced tea seat set next to him on the bedside table. His sunglasses are open and he is staring at himself in the mirror. Later, Dean is sitting on the bed, still staring at himself in the mirror. He's having a nightmare. Flashback, present day. Casa Erotica #1. Interior motel room. Day. Dean is using the laptop at his feet. A voicemail message is playing. On the laptop?
I guess.
Go ahead.
Dean. Jenny, hey, it's me, Dean. I have a message for you.
I think this is all you.
This is all him talking. You know, I haven't been up since Monday. I'm starving. I'm not really motivated. And I have this really bad, horrible burning inside me that I don't want to talk about. I know it sounds like a normal, unrequited love letter from someone I really want to call, but I can't do that anymore, you know? I can't take the pressure. I can't face my parents or anyone else. If I don't have your phone number, I can't do this alone. So, Jenny, I need your help.
You think killing someone is hard? Hell yeah.
It is, but it's not that hard.
Okay.
Now, I iced over Chuck's corpse and I'm on the phone with you, man. No more hiding. I want you to read me the riot act.
What is it?
It's a short list of things you must do before I let you go.
What are you talking about?
It's orders. If you don't do them, I'll eat your heart.
You're bluffing.
I know you're bluffing and you're listening, but I'm gonna do what's right and I'm going to kill you now.
How do you know?
Because I have yanked out your tongue.
What are you talking about?
You're my hostage. You're my golden calf. If you don't do what I tell you, I'll eat your heart. And that's it. God damn.
God, whatever. Okay. I mean, that's a like nice little short.
Yeah.
God damn.
God damn.
Okay. Oh, my face already hurts from laughing. This is a good start to my day.
Yes. Unlike the start to my day, which was an IQ test.
Oh. So do you want to go first with your high school, or do you want me to go first? I mean, we went to the same high school, but
well, golly, if I can recall my high school years, they were so long ago.
I had to walk up a hill for 9 miles in the snow and ice, shitting myself. And I still made it on time.
And I still shit myself.
I shit myself at the school. The teacher had to kick me out. Oh my god.
Hey, teach. I shit my pants. I have a friend who's an elementary teacher, and she teaches young fives.
Mm-hmm.
And every single time I talk to her, like, hey, how's it going? How's it going in school? Oh, well, another kid shit himself. It's like fucking every day for her. God. I'm like, I would literally lose my mind. I would fucking lose my mind.
Yeah.
I don't know, like, people in that, like, a classroom setting where you're dealing with all of these, like, 5-year-olds shitting their pants or pissing themselves every day, being messy, like, I don't know, like, those people need to be making at least $80,000 a year.
Mm-hmm.
Like, dealing with your, like, kids who have no manners whatsoever. That's how much those people need to be making. Yeah. That's how much they deserve. like, think about it. You're sending your young 5-year-old to school. Do you really even have to send them to school? No, but you want to send them to school, quote unquote, for their growth and learning. Yeah. But is it because you really want to break from them? Because I think you really want to break from them.
Yeah.
But yeah, every time it's kids shitting themselves. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Oh man, I can't even deal with one of my kids shitting themselves, let alone like multiple different children in a classroom. But let's see, what happened to me in high school? I don't know. I didn't have a normal high school experience, I don't think.
No.
I think it's so hard because, like, for one, it was a long time ago, and two, you don't know who you are in high school, and your perception of everything is not what it actually is.
Yeah.
Because your perception of things is literally just your own perception, which is vastly ego-driven, because that's what you run
exaggerated
on.
Too.
Yeah.
Because of your emotions.
Right. And you don't know anything about the world.
Yeah.
All you know is everything that's right in front of you. Like, just the people in front of you. You're trying to figure out what people's body languages mean. You're trying to figure out how to talk to other people. Like, and it's not that you're not unsocialized. It literally takes a long time to figure out how people communicate with each other.
Yeah.
I mean, like, look at me. I'm in my 30s now, and I'm still figuring out how people communicate with each other, because it's so different for every single person.
Yeah.
Some people have learned how to communicate in a very loving way, and other people have never learned how to communicate properly.
Some people choose not to learn how to communicate properly too.
Yeah.
Like, those are the most infuriating people to deal with and to figure out too. Because, like, I am one of those people that, like, I figure out how people need to be communicated with. Or, like, if it's the kind of people that choose not to learn how to communicate with other people, I will literally baby them or be the most aggressive person in their life, because I'm like, you need to be humbled so incredibly much. I like being the person that humbles other people. I don't know why.
So you like being a bitch like me?
I do.
I'm a bitch.
I'm a bitch. Which is ironic, because sometimes I need to be humbled. But who doesn't? Who doesn't need to be humbled?
No, I welcome being humbled. I hate being called out on stuff, because a lot of times I believe that I'm right.
Right.
Because I'm a bitch. Because I'm a Virgo Jupiter. And I'm fucking right. But I do, like, that's the only time you're ever going to grow, is when you get humbled and realize, I don't know everything.
Yeah.
Or, I didn't really look at it that way, and I should have. So I'm glad somebody pointed it out for me.
But you also have to have the open mind.
Yeah.
In order to actually take humbling as it is,
Mm-hmm.
instead of just somebody attacking you.
Yeah. Well, and that's what's so wrong with society right now. It's getting better, I feel, because all the people our age are raising our kids differently.
Mm-hmm.
But like, men that are older than me or my age even sometimes, if you humble them, they get aggressive and violent because it's a knock on their ego.
Yep.
I don't know what it is about men just like, oh my gosh, the worst thing for me is for a fucking woman to humiliate me. And by that, it's literally as simple as telling them they're wrong. You give them any kind of constructive criticism and they're like, oh my God, you just like shot down my pride. You humiliated me. And they feel so attacked. And it's like, no, we're just trying to grow.
I want you to be better. Like, I saw this flaw in you, and I'm approaching you, telling
in a very
you
nice way.
Need to not be this way. Well, I mean, I approached him in a nice way first, and then suddenly I wasn't so nice after I had to ask multiple times. But that's how it is.
That's the problem.
You
though.
should
They don't
not
listen
have to
the
be
first
asked
time.
multiple times to fix something.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, a lot of men won't fix something that a woman asks them to fix the first time because they don't believe that she is correct.
Yeah, they don't think it needs to be fixed. They
Right.
just think, oh, she's being a woman.
Invalidate her opinion. They pass it off like, oh, well, why should I have to change? Well, it's like, because women change all the time anyways.
Everybody has to change. You
have
to be open to change in order to actually exist with other people. Like, you can't be so focused on being stuck on who you currently are, because that's not going to set you up for success.
Right.
You are going to fail yourself and then drag everybody else around you down with you.
Yeah.
Because you're being a stubborn asshole.
Being 25 years old and deciding that that's who you are, and then literally not growing from that mindset your entire life. Mm-hmm. So you can be an 80-year-old and still have a 25-year-old mindset. Yeah. How terrible is that? Mm-hmm. Like, thinking about that, it's like, what if I did that? I would be the worst person in the world. And I hate hearing stories of people's relationships where they are constantly begging for their partner to start growing with them and accepting that they need to change a little bit to grow together. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, why does it have to be pulling teeth for people to do that? Right. It's not, I personally don't live in that kind of relationship where I have to beg all the time.
No, me neither.
Yeah. But like, when I hear people that do, it's so crazy to me, because it's like, it's not that's just a man thing. And I know for a fact
there are women that do it too. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But also, I literally have proof in my husband that it's easy for them to change, because if they wanted to, they would.
Yep. That's really what it is if they wanted to, they would. And also, people change for the people they want to change for.
Yes. Look at, and I know this is fake because it's a television show, but do you remember that episode of The Office when Jim and Pam got invited to Roy's wedding?
Yeah.
And
he was
they go
significantly different than when he was.
Yeah, they were expecting him to be classic Roy. And, he goes and, they get married, and he's got this gift. He learned how to play piano for his bride, and he played her a song and sang it for her, like serenading her in front of everybody at their wedding. And it was like the sweetest thing. And Pam and Jim are like, what the fuck? And it's because, yes, Pam is a good person, and all around Roy is a good person. He just made terrible choices. Yeah. But that's when like, you're just with the wrong person. Yeah. And that's why I advocate so much for, if they don't do it because they don't want to, you need to end that relationship. Yeah. Stop trying because you're not the right person for them. And they're not the right person for you. Sorry. Let them go find their right person. Let Pam go find her Jim. Yep. And let Roy go find his whoever that he's going to actually be like, oh my God, this person deserves for me to do this. Yeah. This person deserves for me to marry them, in a timely manner. Mm-hmm. and learn piano for them and sing to them. This woman that like I never would have found if Pam didn't break up with me. Like it's a blessing that she did. And like you see that and it's like that right there, even though it's on a TV show, that happens all the time in the real world. And that's why you need to let go of your shitty relationship. If you're in a terrible, shitty relationship, just let it go.
It also comes down to too that like if your partner isn't pushing you, not really pushing, but isn't helping you to be a better version of you, then that's not good either.
Yeah.
So like
also if you're enabling each other to just be shitty
or like
crappy people,
you're both repeatedly making like if you're both repeatedly making the same choices that end you up in the same situation, which is literally the definition of insanity.
Yeah.
And neither of you are consciously making the choice to not put yourselves in that situation anymore, maybe you shouldn't be together.
Yes.
Maybe you guys are toxic for each other and it's not like a one-sided thing. Just don't be together.
Mm-hmm.
Like that sounds so callous for me to say, but like
yeah. Well, here's the thing. Like I know it's easier for me to let go of things. I've never been an addictive person. Yeah. I've never been a person to hold on to a relationship longer than I needed to, except for one time, but that I wasn't even holding on to the relationship. It's just I didn't have anywhere to live. Mm-hmm. But I know it's easier for me with my personality to let go of things, but it is harder for other people. It's just hard for me to understand why. Because when you look at those things logically, it's like, okay, you don't have kids together. You're not living together.
Yep.
But your relationship is garbage. So end it. Well, I can't. Why not? Though.
Yeah.
Why not?
Why are you holding on to this so hard, even though you know and have said to me that your relationship is not good?
Yeah. You literally are complaining about it all the time. It's causing you problems. So why are you still together? Oh, my significant other is drinking all the time. So break up with them.
It's not your responsibility to take care of your partner.
Yeah.
You are not your partner's mom. You are your partner's partner.
You're not their handler.
You two should be growing together.
Mm-hmm.
You should be making goals together for what you want your life to be together. And if you guys cannot see a life together and only separate and you're just together, that's not a relationship.
Ooh, that reminds me.
That's being a roommate with somebody.
Okay, here's a red flag for relationships that's not talked about enough. And it's when that person refuses to combine things with you. I'm not talking about finances, but
shared spaces.
Shared spaces, like but like also things like I remember I dated a guy for a while and we were literally together for a while. Mm-hmm. And here comes, Christmas time and he's like, okay, well, I'm getting my mom and dad this, and I'm getting my sister, and I'm like, okay. And he's like, what are you getting for them? And I'm like, we're a couple. So shouldn't we pick out their gifts from us together?
Yeah.
And that's the only example I can think of right now, but it was a lot of little things like that. Like it was just
like he didn't see you as a unit.
Yes. Yeah. Everything was always separate. Mm-hmm. Like in the respect of like Christmas presents. Like everything had to be you are this and I am this, or you do that and I am that. Like, and I wasn't expecting for us to move in together, live together. I wasn't expecting us to share finances, but it was just, it was so separate. It was like he was just set on, well, I'm not combining anything with you because I'm my own person. And I'm like, I get that. But when you are in a relationship and you want it to go somewhere, you have to come together and be a unit. That is what you are. Mm-hmm. Yes, you are separate individuals and can have different hobbies, but you are a unit.
Yeah.
So when you refuse those little things that hold you guys together as a couple, that's a huge red flag. And it took me a few months to notice that and realize that. Because, when you're in it, like you have no hindsight because you're still in it, right? Yeah. But then I started, stepping away and being like, okay, why are we separate all the time? Mm-hmm. Why does everything always have to be separated all the time? Like we're together. Like why can't we pool our money together and do this for this and do that for that? And why can't we plan something together? Why are you always planning something and I have to tag along?
Yeah.
Like, it was so dumb and I hated it. I'm like, this is not what a relationship is. Like, it was so bothersome. And I realized that a lot of, and this can be men and women, but I realize men do it a lot more. They'll be 5 or 10 years into a relationship or even a marriage and still do that.
Yeah.
They'll still be like, okay, well, this is my car, or this is, like, well, this is my house that you moved into. It's like, yeah, but we're married now.
Yeah.
So it's our house and I still help pay for it. Like,
yeah.
I
do most things. Of the work around here. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, I have a friend who, her boyfriend at the time, made a lot of money. They bought a house together and they used her like money and everything as a down payment, even though he made a lot of money. He made significantly more money than she did, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she's working these shit jobs and her car is like literally taking a shit. And she's like, I was thinking I could finally get a new car. And, she was supposed to end up
get from point A to point B safely.
Yeah. And I mean, they're living together. She takes care of the house. He didn't take care of the house, not once.
Mm-hmm.
And then he brought kids in the relationship. She didn't have kids. So she's taking care of his kids all the time. And then she had to quit her job because they couldn't find anyone to take care of their kids. So then she's taking care of these kids. She's driving them everywhere. And then she's like,
her biological kids. Yeah.
So then she's like, can I please get a new vehicle? And he said, when you save up enough money, you can get a new vehicle.
What the fuck?
Yeah. And this is her having to quit her job to take care of his lifestyle and his kids.
That's when the house it's like, nope, over, done. I'm not doing this for you.
Yes.
Like, if you're not going to reciprocate for me when I'm taking care of your house, or, well, technically her house, but like, if I'm taking care of the house and your kids, I don't have a safe vehicle to transport your kids in or myself. Yeah. I'm not working to take care of your kids. And you're telling me I have to save money for my own car when I'm literally taking care of your life for you? Yeah. No, not doing that.
She was literally free daycare, free maid, free everything just so that he could further his career.
Yeah.
And he was making a lot of money too. Like a lot. Like I'm talking like at least $35 an hour.
Yeah.
And that's at the very least.
That's amazing money.
Yes.
I wish I was getting that much money.
But then here's, where I came in and I was like, listen, friend, who I'm not going to blast on here, you need to get out of this relationship. And like, I could tell very early on that she wasn't happy, even though she talked about how happy she was, because she knew she was supposed to be happy and that she wanted to be happy. And I'm like, this isn't right. You are getting treated like absolute garbage and you do not deserve this because you are an amazing person. And there were so many more problems. It's a learned thing with how we grew up. Because, we grow up like knowing, okay, I can't take from others. I have to be as helpful to other people as I possibly can. I can't be what's the word I'm looking for? Burden. I can't be a burden to other people.
That's really what it comes down to for me. It's like, I am so afraid of being a burden to him specifically.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm afraid of being a burden all around together, but him specifically because he's my husband, I don't want to weigh him down because I want him to grow into the person he's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And I am so afraid that I'm dragging him.
Well, you're fortunate though, because he thinks those things about you too.
Yeah.
Versus other people in other relationships, a lot of times it's only one person that has that mindset and the other person is only caring about themselves. Right.
Well, and that's kind of where I was going with it. It was like, I have been so, like you said, fortunate to have received in my life such a man that is so conscious of his own feelings, of other people's feelings, of his actions and how he affects people, of his, basically just, he's so conscious of his own existence. And that's what I love about him.
I guess that's going off of that previous red flag that I talked about, that's a big red flag that's not talked about either. Is that that person that you're with aware that every action that they choose to make affects you?
Right.
Because there's a lot of people under the impression still that like, well, I'm my own person. It's like, it does not matter. If you're in a relationship, every single thing you do affects your partner.
Yep. If
every single thing.
Dating, married, engaged, even if you're just living together, the choices you make heavily affect and influence the other person.
Right. And if you don't want to be that kind of burden, don't be in a relationship. And if in turn you're in a relationship and you see that your partner does not care that their actions affect you, or just think it doesn't matter that their actions affect you because they deserve to do what they want, that's a red flag. Yeah. I mean, you can get red flags all over the internet. You can get lists of all these things everywhere, but those two things I've really, really noticed will make or break a relationship.
I think it goes vice versa too, where if you know that you don't care about your partner's life outside of you, I guess, like if you consciously know that you're making choices and don't care about how it affects your partner, maybe you should do some inner work and
shadow work,
self-reflecting, and figure out why, and figure out if you genuinely want to be in a relationship with that person or not, because you should not, hold on, I gotta find my words because I'm getting worked up, be dragging people down. That sounds so childish to say out loud, and that's, I can't find my words because I'm just getting flustered.
Yeah,
my brain is shutting down.
I get it.
It's not fair to the other person that they have to live basically in your shadow based on the choices that you make, and they just have to live your life.
Well, and that includes being unhealed. Yeah. If you're going to go into a relationship being all unhealed and being like, oh, you can't talk to me like that because I have trauma in this. You can't do this because I have trauma in this. And you know what? That's fine.
I cannot do I have trauma, so you can't do that. Like, I understand that. But you also have to work through your trauma because I am not responsible for your triggers.
Right. And here's where I'll give a little bit of leeway. Sometimes you can't work on your traumas and heal yourself until you feel like you're in a safe space.
That's fair.
Right? So if you have a partner who is literally providing you that safe space and being like, okay, I won't do this around you, I won't trigger you, that's fine. But if you are so fortunate enough to have a partner like that, you need to do them a favor and work on yourself in the safe space that they are providing for you.
That's what I did.
Yes. Literally, that's what me and my husband are doing.
I was not in a good place at all when Dylan and I met, because my dad had left my mom a few months prior. And not long after, my mom started dating her boyfriend, her now husband.
Yeah, which is a big change.
Right. And then my dad had been hiding that he was dating somebody. And also around that time, like, we had been evicted from our house because my dad basically deceived my mom.
Foreclosed.
It was just a whole, he wasn't paying the rent and wasn't telling my mom that he wasn't paying the rent because it was under his name. So
so it wasn't, you guys were renting a house.
We were renting a mobile home.
Oh, okay.
So because he wasn't paying and wasn't telling my mom that he wasn't paying so she could, we got evicted.
Yeah.
So we went to go live with my
grandparents.
And
there's where communication is good, regardless of how good or bad. You need to communicate things because it only makes it worse. And there's your dad's actions in not communicating those things and not doing those things and not caring that it's affecting not only his wife but his kids.
Yep. So that happened. And then there was just a lot of big change for me really, really fast.
Yeah.
That because, and I think if I had been younger, it would not have affected me as hard. But I was 16 and had only known a life where my parents were together. Well, and I was still living with my parents.
Yeah, but also you're going through changes in yourself.
Yeah.
And you're also preparing to face changes in growing into being an adult. And that's very hard and very scary.
Yeah. So because so much was happening for me outside of my body with other people, but also inside of my own head, it caused a lot of toxicity in me that really wasn't there previously.
Yeah.
And
it didn't need to be there.
I have apologized to Dylan so many times for this, and he has reassured me that he understood, and that's why he stuck through it, because he knew that he could tell that it wasn't something that was permanent. Me. Yeah. It wasn't a me thing. It was a reactionary thing.
Yeah.
And then once I knew that he was permanent and he was a safe space and he was there to help me and love me and reassure me, I really started diving into myself and why I do the things I do, why I communicate the way I do. I was a very reactionary person, not so much of a think first, speak later thing. It was always like a speak right then and there. And once I learned that I do that, I was like, you can't interact with people that way. And that's why people take you in such a harsh light.
Yeah.
Because I was so reactionary. And once I figured that out and started working on it, it really started to develop our relationship.
Yeah.
And now I do like to think that I'm a better person. Obviously, I do still have a lot of work to do for myself, but I am also still dealing with a lot in my head with my father. Yeah. So there's just lot.
Everything with your dad is still fresh because it's still kind of happening.
Oh God.
So, and that does, like, I can see where it's leaking out of you slowly. Like, it'll just kind of, it'll leak into conversation after conversation because you're still going through it.
I'm still dealing with it. I'm still trying to figure out how to process it. And I really think, I mean, it's hard because growing up, my dad was like my best friend.
Yeah.
I had such a close relationship with him. And now all of a sudden I'm realizing, and it wasn't like a slowly over time thing. It was really like an all at once. I realized my dad is a shitty person.
Yeah.
I hate to say that, but he is a shitty person. And
well, it sucks that he's, you know, a parent. You never want to like have to realize who your parents are, because you know when you're a child and you grow up, you're like, oh, my parents are everything. Like they support me because they're like my parents. They do everything for me because that's what they're supposed to do. And then you grow up and then you're like, well, I've figured out my parents now and they're just regular people.
Yeah.
And one of them is so regular that they're even a terrible person. And that kind of sucks. So how do you think like did that affect your high school experience a lot? Like was that something that was like kind of like so much traumatizing that like it affected your grades, or did you take it out a lot on your friendships or anything like that?
I wouldn't say that in a negative way with my friendships. I kind of as a result grew closer to one of my friends and her boyfriend because I was seeking a safe space. And then at the time I like didn't really have a great relationship with my mom because I had like inner turmoil with myself and my dad, but also my mom. There was just a lot happening. So I kind of was seeking a safe space, and that safe space at the time was my best friend and her boyfriend. So I was over there like all the time, hanging out, just doing nonsense. My grades didn't really suffer because I didn't do homework anyways. So like it didn't really affect that at all. Honestly, if anything, I did seek validation more from
I feel like that's what
I did. That's the what a lot of people
do.
Thing.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people do in high school, though.
But it wasn't like, it sucks because it wasn't like it was like online stuff. So like the app Kik. I don't know if you're familiar with Kik at all.
No.
It was just this whole mess. So like it was a lot of just like meeting people on the internet and just talking to people that way just to get like the littlest bit of attention, even if like not even in a romantic light, just to have something. Because I did feel isolated and lonely. And I hated being isolated and lonely.
Well, especially with a Leo rising, you don't like being isolated at all. Yeah. And of course, and that's another thing, when you're in high school and you're grappling at any form of something that you think you need, you don't know what you're supposed to do in those situations. And that's when you do try to get validation from your peers and like, oh, hey, like, am I still a good person? Like, am I still funny? Am I still charismatic? Like, do you still want to be my friend? Like,
dude, I went back to my ex because like shortly after my dad left, and my mom hated that. She had repeatedly told me like, I don't want you seeing him, like I don't want you talking to him.
I remember you talking
which
about it.
Only fueled the, I'm gonna see him if I want to type thing.
Yeah.
And I mean,
I'm not excited for my kids. Like, if my kids have that kind of mindset, like that spitefulness as a teenager, like I'm gonna lose it because of my Aries moon, who is like a strict no bullshit thing. Like I'm so much a no bullshit. Like, don't fucking do that shit to me.
Forever grateful for my mom's Libra moon. Forever grateful for my mom's Libra moon with her Cancer sun. She ended up being like, okay, well, I would rather know who you're with than not know and you be in a dangerous situation. So like, if you want to see him, that's fine.
Yeah.
But just let me know that you're with him.
Well, it's hard being a parent when your kid is going through stuff because you don't want to be overbearing, but you're still like, I just wish you would listen to me because I am your parent. I have been young before.
Yeah.
I know what these feelings are, even if you can't verbalize them. I know what these actions truly mean, even if you tell me over and over again that's not what they mean. Because that is what they mean.
You
and
just don't know it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm so trying to cultivate this relationship like with my own kids before they hit that age where I'm like, listen, I want you to know, and I tell my oldest this all the time because he's the only one that can really get it, that, hey, I want you to know, don't ever forget, I used to be a kid too. I know what these feelings are. I know what the world looks like as a kid. I haven't forgotten.
Yeah.
I haven't forgotten. I just know what reality is. And I want you to know that I'm here to help you grow into the person that you're supposed to be. But I also want you to enjoy being a child. But first and foremost, I want you to be safe. So here is me letting you know that I know some things aren't fair as a child because you can't understand why we have to do this or that. Yeah. But I will never do anything or never tell you to do anything that is not safe. Yeah. That like when I get on you about stuff, it's because it's not safe or it's not good for the good of the household. And because it's hard dealing with a teenager. I've never dealt with a teenager. I actually frankly hate teenagers right now. Like if I like have to sit and listen to them, I'm like, oh my God, was I ever this stupid?
Well, it's like my mom and I always say that we feel bad for her husband because he went from having his own child, who's still a child, to getting into a relationship with my mom and then suddenly having teenagers that he didn't know how to deal with, and he didn't grow up dealing with us. He didn't know our personalities. He didn't know our form of communication. He didn't know anything. He literally jumped into this relationship blind, not realizing what my mom's kids were like. Well, and I'm a little monster. Like I was a bitch because of how much change was going on. Yeah. And I was stubborn and I was like, I don't like anything that's happening. Yeah. And it was the one time where I was not open to change. I like to think that I very much so am an open person when it comes to change. I'm like, if like Dylan, when he makes plans, I'm just like, yeah, we can do whatever. I don't care. Just let me know what's happening so I can plan for it accordingly. Yeah. But this one time was the one time I'm like, nope, fuck this. I'm not doing this. I'm not dealing with it. I don't want to do this anymore. Like this is it was just too much too soon. It's really all it was.
Also, you're probably more open to change now and more flexible having gone through a really, really hard change.
Yeah. Well, and it's like, I really do think that it was just too much too soon. I really wasn't given any time to adjust. I was just kind of pushed into these new relationships that my parents were in, where I had just a few months prior been thinking that my parents' relationship was fine.
Still loved each other.
Yeah, I literally, and that right there has caused some communication breakdown between me and Dylan sometimes.
Yeah.
Like we don't really fight. We've never had a fight. We've had arguments or miscommunications really.
Yeah.
But there was one time where we were like arguing pretty good, and he had said basically that the romance like wasn't there anymore, and it's because we had just had Jay. So we were
Well, it's not going to be, and honestly, that's him being naive to having a kid.
Well, and it was just like it was more so like he just missed me,
which
is fine.
But so, that's the thing about having kids is, you know, your significant other is going to change in a way forever. Mm-hmm. You might not be able to do all the things that you once did.
Right.
That's the way it is. So if you don't want anything to change, don't have kids.
So we were talking about it, and what he said is not what I heard. I basically, in my brain, heard that he was falling out of love for me. And this was right before our wedding. So I had like a little panic attack, and I was like sitting on the living room floor, like crying because I was trying to process everything. And logically, I knew that what I heard him say was not what he actually said. So I was trying to work myself out of that mindset. And I was talking to him about it, and he was asking me, like, what's going on with you? Like, I've gotten everything out of me. It's your turn. And I basically told him what was going on. And he said, if I didn't love you, I wouldn't come home every day. And I said, okay, but I wouldn't know that because I don't know for how long my parents didn't love each other, and yet they still came home to each other every night.
Yeah.
So that doesn't help me. And that is why I'm constantly saying, like, if I sense he's upset, I'm constantly saying, I love you. I love you. And it's like a reassurance thing. And I just need to hear him say it back, which we've talked about before.
Well, and see, like, using your parents' relationship as an example, and this is where I say, hey, if it's not working, leave.
Yeah.
Because holding on when you shouldn't for longer does way more damage than just ending it. I'm not saying just end every relationship just because it slightly feels off. That's not what I'm saying.
No.
I'm saying when no more trying can be had, end it. So that in the wake, other people don't have to feel the horrible ripples from it. Like that tend to build up the longer you stay in it, because you probably wouldn't have had to feel it that hard, and you probably wouldn't have had those issues of, you know, knowing, oh, they don't actually love each other and now they're separating, versus wondering, what do people do when they don't love each other but are still in a relationship? Because you didn't know that. Right. You didn't have an idea of that because you still, oh, well, they still act like they love each other. So how long is my husband going to act like he loves me before he decides to tell me he doesn't love me?
Well, it's like my mom was telling me like a week ago or so that she deep down, even as a teenager, knew that there was going to be multiple men in her life, marriage-wise. That she's like, I knew your dad wasn't going to be the only man that I was going to marry. And I had told him that if he ever changed his mind or got bored or wanted to move on or whatever, that he needed to tell me. That way we weren't wasting time, and that I could, you know, plan my life accordingly. Yeah. And my dad,
well, your mom's
didn't
extremely
do that.
Intuitive,
right?
Too.
My dad obviously didn't do that.
Well, no, because he had an Aries South node, so he only cared about everything about himself and what affected him.
So like that happened, and look, she's fucking right. But I don't know if you saw my text about it, but I was looking at my mom's birth chart, and I found out that both my mom and I have our Cancer placements in the 12th house.
Yeah. I remember you said something about that,
and it's cool as fuck.
I couldn't answer it at the time, but I think that's really cool.
It was literally like when I was over there, and my daughter had my mom's teapot, and it wasn't my mom's, it was my brother's that my dad had gotten for him, and he never used it. So my mom used it more than he did.
Yeah.
And my daughter was playing with it, and my mom goes, "It's okay if it breaks because it's from your dad." And then she dropped it and it broke. Huh. And I was like,
that.
What the fuck? So
yeah. That's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, your mom just has like that like little bit of sixth sense going on there. Yeah. Well, I guess going back to my high school, maybe I'll talk about how I felt throughout high school.
Yeah.
First of all, I felt like I did not belong heavily.
Yeah.
Heavily. I never had a friendship that I felt like I was the preferred friend
Mm-hmm.
until sophomore year when I became best friends with a girl who had just moved here from a different school. And oddly enough, we got placed in all of our classes together except one.
Wow.
And with the seating charts, we commonly got placed together. And I do like to think that was because of my like kind nature that my teachers always saw. So I always had to sit next to all of like the kids who kind of had like communication issues or who needed to feel more comfortable, which I hated.
That's rough for you.
It's rough for me. It's helpful for them, but rough for me.
Yeah.
But but my friend was new, so it's like, okay, well, let's put her next to Jamie because Jamie's nice and she's not a bully. She doesn't do that shit to anybody. And then we're like, wow, we are so similar and goofy as fuck. Also, she's a Scorpio.
Oh, there you go.
So we became friends, and then I finally actually became best friends with a girl that I had gone to school with forever. And I always thought she was cool and funny. And she's then my other Taurus friend.
Okay.
So see where
yeah,
it's very common for me to be drawn to Scorpios and Tauruses. Yeah. And Taurus is also in my 7th house. So house of relationships. So I commonly get drawn to those people. And we had so much fun just goofing around, being little idiots. And then it was just kind of commonly like us in our own world after that. Before that, though, high school was just, I hated it. Yeah. It was so hard for me. I could never hold on to a friend. I had another friend who was a Scorpio, and her and I were best friends for a while. But she was kind of very much like, I just have to do my own thing.
Yeah.
And that was, her journey. That was for her. So I was just kind of like, oh, we'll hang out here and there. Like, we're still best friends and everything. And I haven't talked to her in a few years. We caught up maybe 5 or 6 years ago once, but I haven't talked to her since. She loved coming over here though, because our house was always so loud. Mm-hmm. Everyone's just loud and obnoxious and just joking around all the time.
All the chaos.
Yes. So, I don't know. I was that kid that had a very horrible, I guess, mindset about high school because it never, like, our specific high school didn't offer things that I wanted. Yeah. Like, I wanted to take French. I wanted to take German. I wanted to take art class. And Dude. I wanted to do shop class. And of course, as soon as I get into high school, they take away all that stuff. Yep. You had to be an art club and use it as an extracurricular. And I'm like, why can't I just fucking do an art class?
Yeah.
Like, we had art class in middle school. And that was it.
No art class.
See, and I fucking hate, like, you know me. I'm an artistic person. Yeah. I'm creative as fuck. I wanted to do shop class. Like, I wanted to fucking build stuff out of wood. And you know what my aptitude test said I should do? Be a fucking cabinet maker. That's what I wanted to do. Yeah. And look at what I want to do now. Oh, I want to fucking redecorate and design houses and stuff. Yeah, because that's what I'm supposed to fucking do. Guess what high school didn't prepare me for? Shit that I'm actually made to do.
I remember in high school for me, I don't even remember what the project was, but we were given a project, and my friend and I started doing research about home ec classes and why they were taken away from the curriculum, why they were so important.
That. I was so for this report for you too.
It was so much fun. Like, we went to different classes, we took surveys, we got, our shit together. Like, it was we banged the fuck out of this project. And we actually wanted to take it to the school board and like take it higher and fight for a home ec class for our school. That would have been
so nice.
Because it would have been so educational. There's so many kids that need a home ec class these days because not everybody has a stable home like they used to.
You can't learn these things at home anymore. Not
everybody has 2 parents to teach them things. A lot of the time there's one parent that's working all the time.
Fucking working all the time.
So they're not learning life life stuff that they
desperately need to know.
Yeah, to function as an adult, like cooking, cleaning, sewing, just the basic
mending
shit.
clothes.
Yeah.
Do you know how much
putting a button on a piece of clothing? A lot of people lose a button on a piece of clothing and throw the whole thing away. It's like, put the button back on.
Yeah, and these are money saving things.
Yeah.
Like
finances. Home ec teaches you finances.
Oh my god,
too.
taxes.
Yep.
Taxes. Why should we have to pay somebody to do our taxes?
Mm-hmm.
We should be able to do it. First of all, like, I don't even want to get started on how much the taxing idea in this country.
A whole different episode.
Oh my god, yeah, let's do that.
We should do that for election season.
They literally have us do taxes at the end of the year just to get more money out of us. They think like, oh, hey, these people don't know about taxes, so here's how we don't have to give them their money back.
Right.
I swear to God, that's what this fucking country does, and I hate it. The country of the U.S. The U.S., United States, they screw us out of money all the time. Our high school, literally, all it did was prepare us for college, and it didn't even do that. It
didn't do that for me because I didn't want to go to college.
Well, see, I didn't want to either, but we actually had to apply to colleges.
Yep.
We were graded on it.
And I remember one of the teachers, I love her to death. I always have. But she told me she was having us all apply for colleges and scholarships and stuff. And I straight up told her, I was like, I'm not doing that. And she goes, okay, well, you have to. It's for a grade. And I was like, okay, well, then I guess I'm failing because
give me a 0. I'm
not doing that. Like, I don't want to go to college. So why would I apply for colleges and also apply for scholarships and risk
and grants
being approved for them when I don't need them? And then somebody else could desperately need it and they don't get it because I did. What? That doesn't make any sense for me.
Well, it's a big waste of time. Okay, see, my whole thought process on high school, just school, public school altogether, any kind of schooling where you have homework. Why do children need to put in more than 8 hours a day when the workforce technically doesn't put in more than 8 hours a day? So why should my kid be at school for 8 hours, literally doing 7 hours of work, and then there's, like lunchtime and maybe recess or whatever, that time allotted?
Yeah.
Why should my kids spend that much time, not including sports? Oh my god, then they got to do sports, okay?
Extracurriculars.
So these kids are working 45 to 50 hours a week without homework. Now you add in homework.
Yeah.
They're working overtime.
Yep.
So,
which companies don't even want to pay you when you're an adult. Companies will avoid you getting overtime just so they don't have to pay you overtime.
Yeah. So why do these schools why is it like why is it socially accepted that schools can just throw out extra work for you, make you work all this extra, and then you go into the workforce and you're working 40 hours a week? Why do you have to work that extra as a child?
Yeah.
That seems very odd to me.
Yeah, and then they wonder why so many kids now are getting diagnosed with depression and ADHD and shit, and it's
anxiety.
Like, I wonder if our school system has anything to do with that, because they're overworking the kids. They're getting up when their bodies are not ready to wake up. Like, our bodies are not meant to do that.
Oh my god, speaking of bodies not meaning to do stuff, okay, when I went to elementary school and stuff, it was so forced onto us about healthy eating habits. 3 square meals a day. Remember that? The food table, the food triangle and everything. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. You got to eat 3 square meals. You got to have fruit and whatever. So, of course, here I am being the type of person that I like being. I like getting my amount of sleep. I don't like sacrificing my sleep to do other things. I fucking hate that. I like being a healthy person. I like eating healthy. I like being on a schedule. I like being able to eat when I'm fucking hungry.
Yeah.
So what they don't teach you in school, maybe they do now, is that, a breakfast is exactly what that is. You're breaking your fast, that you're fasting throughout the night because you're sleeping. So breakfast, all it does is kickstart your digestive system to start moving. So when your digestive system is kickstarted and all you had was a bowl of cereal for breakfast, it's going to be hungry 2 hours later.
Yeah.
for an actual
you didn't
meal.
Get the nutrition that you needed.
Right, for an actual meal. So here they're telling you got to eat breakfast in the morning, got to eat breakfast before these MEEP tests and all these the fourth grade tests
anymore.
It's named something different now, but it's relatively the same thing. It's like, oh, gotta eat breakfast, you gotta, feed your mind and stuff. But all that did was kickstart my digestive system and make me hungry at 10:30.
Yep.
So then I had to fucking starve until lunchtime. And guess what classes I almost always failed? Those 2 classes that I was starving through because I couldn't eat.
That's what I liked about when I was in high school. The teachers started to say, like, okay, you can have snacks, just don't make a mess.
Yeah, when I was in middle school, we were allowed to have snacks. High school, it was like, oh, you can wait. You can wait.
Really?
Because we're older.
We did the opposite. It was the opposite for me.
Yeah, I hated that. But then because I didn't know and I wasn't taught properly, I was still eating breakfast every morning. Yeah. Now, if I would have just skipped breakfast every morning and still been fasting, my body wouldn't have kickstarted anything. Yeah. And I wouldn't have been hungry. And then I would have actually eaten lunch.
That was me. I never ate breakfast and I didn't ever eat lunch. And then when I got home, I would snack because then I was hungry. Yeah. I would snack and then I would have dinner and I'd be fine. I never ate breakfast or lunch at school.
Yeah. See, my problem is I would be starving. And then by the time lunch started, my body had gone back into starvation mode. So my hunger was gone. So I couldn't eat anything. And then after that, after having eaten half of a sandwich or whatever, or poking at my food because I wasn't hungry anymore, those last few classes, I was tired. Yeah. Because I wasn't fueled properly. So here, that is the public education system failing me specifically in digestive health. Yeah. And I fucking hate that it took me 30 years to learn. Like I had to be 30 years old to finally realize that was half of the reason why I didn't do good in school. Yeah. Was because of my eating habits that they told me to have. Yeah. So I'm still very salty about that because I think I have weird eating habits now still because of that. So I'm trying to be better about that, and I'm trying to make sure that my kids don't have to go through that. I'm trying to make sure that they get to eat when they're hungry, that their systems, if sometimes like my son, if he doesn't eat breakfast in the morning, I'm not going to force him. Just be like, okay, take extra snack with you because when you eat snack, you're going to need to eat a lot to make it through till lunchtime. Yeah. And I want to make sure that they're prepared in the ways that I wasn't. Right. And it wasn't.
Which is that's what you're supposed to do as a parent.
Yeah. And even none of that's my parents' fault either because they didn't know. They were taught the same thing. Yeah. They were taught the same thing. So, and it wasn't even what the school was taught. It's just what they allowed. Yeah. Like, oh, here, eat breakfast, but you need to wait 5 hours until you can eat lunch.
For schools, it's state mandated anyways. So it's not even the school's fault. It's the government's fault.
Yep. Everything boils down to the government. Mm-hmm. So aside from that being very troublesome for me in high school, I never dated anybody. I was never even asked out. I never had dates to dances, which with my Leo Chiron, getting into astrology, Chiron in Leo, with Chiron being your greatest wound, in Leo, if anything, is the one who wants to feel special.
Oh, yeah.
So
felt it.
I 100% didn't feel special. Yeah. At all. And that was my wound throughout high school. I'm not the preferred friend. I'm not the preferred date for anybody. I'm not this, I'm not that. And I'm not salty about that stuff. That's just the stuff that you go through in high school. And I end up being that person. Yeah. And honestly, I'm very grateful for the friends I did have. I'm grateful for even the people who weren't necessarily my best friends, just all the people who are nice to me. And yeah, there was never really many bullies that I went to high school with. Yeah. It's just everyone really was not necessarily accepting, but at least just, hey, we're not going to treat people like shit.
That's kind of how it was for us too. Like there wasn't really that I saw bullying. Obviously like there was the cliques, but high school doesn't have cliques. But honestly, a lot of what it was for me is a lot of the when you had the different cliques, a lot of them were just so stuck in their ways.
Yeah.
That there was no expanding, there was no reaching out to other people. There was no like I was very emo in my freshman year specifically. So like my freshman year I was super emo and I was basically ostracized for that. And then my sophomore year.
Did you want to be like that though?
Emo?
No, like ostracized. Because like
No.
a lot of times when you are choosing to be emo, like you know, like, okay, this isn't going to be accepted, but that's why I'm going to do it, to kind of stick it to the man type thing.
No, it was more so of like for me it was this is what I want. I'm going to do it and I want to see. It was more so like I hoped that other people would also see it and think it was cool and want to reach out to me. Is what it was.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
I was hoping to make friends that way.
Okay.
But I kind of got ostracized for that. And then my sophomore year, I kind of grew out of it a little bit. And then my junior year went super mainstream, like very basic white bitch type thing. And then I started dating Dylan, and then he kind of helped me find my way back to me. I forgot where I was going with that. Oh, I was super emo.
Yeah.
But where were we before that?
You were getting ostracized for being emo.
Oh, people were stuck in their ways. So when I was
cliques.
So when I was emo, it really became apparent that like how small our school was,
small-minded,
and how close-minded everybody was. There was no going to be forcing that to open up. And I even remember after I graduated, like literally right after I graduated, I got into an argument with somebody I graduated with because she was picking on one of my friends and I wasn't having any of that. So I started arguing with her. And then she started making fun of me for being emo my freshman year of high school. And I'm like, this was 4 fucking years ago. And I think I had just dyed my hair black again. Like even before in my emo phase, my mom didn't let me dye my hair black. So I dyed it as dark brown as I could get it.
Yeah.
So my hair wasn't even black then. But after we graduated, I had dyed my hair black in like that October. And she had made fun of me for it, saying that I was still in my emo phase. And I'm like, I'm sorry that, like, she's cool now. She's grown a lot as a person, and I commend you for that. I don't know. But, like, at the time, I was like, bitch, don't be mad at me because I'm fucking hot. Like,
don't hate me because I'm cool.
Yeah. Like, I look good with black hair, and you can never. I'm just kidding. She probably could. She's
that's
pretty.
always funny, and it's such a high school thing, too, because, like, you know, some people would, like, make fun of other people for doing the things that they find cool.
Yep.
It's like, okay, I'm gonna make fun of you because you're emo. It's like, who the fuck is that hurting? Who the fuck are you talking to right now? Because I want to be emo because I think it's cool. I'm not trying to impress you. Like,
that's my whole thing too, is I feel like a lot of people, when they see me do the things I do, they think I'm trying to impress other people. And especially at this point in my life, I'm like, I could not give 2 shits about me impressing you.
Don't care about your opinion.
I am doing this for me and for my husband because my husband likes this shit too.
Yeah.
Like, I went to Walmart the other day and literally right when I walked in, I was wearing like leggings and a tank top. And right when I walked in, this older gentleman goes, "Hey, you look nice." And I just go, "Okay, thanks." And I kept going. But honestly, if it had been...
You know what you should have said? Sorry, I have no change.
Honestly, though, if
things to say to piss off men.
If it would have been a younger gentleman and I was not in a rush to get out of there, like I was just trying to get in and get out. If it had been somebody younger and I wasn't in so much of a rush, I would have said, "Thanks, my husband thinks so too," because I've done that shit before.
Yeah.
I made a TikTok once and somebody commented like, "Oh, you're so fine," and I commented back to them and I was like, "Thanks, my husband thinks so too," and they deleted their comment. And that's my biggest flex, is when people do shit like that. And I think
I love it when they delete their comments because it's like, what is your penis retracting into your body now?
It's
like,
funny because
just like
I got
scared.
a screenshot of it though. So it still is living on.
Yeah.
You didn't.
The internet's forever, pal.
Yeah. I don't know. It surprises me when stuff like that happens sometimes because I forget that I'm still attractive to other people besides Dylan.
Yeah.
Because I don't care about those other people. And I know I've said this before. But like it just boggles my mind when another man that's not Dylan or any of his friends just trying to be nice, an outside male figure, tells me I look good, because I'm not trying to look good for anybody except for me.
I used to get that a lot waiting tables. It would always be these creepy old men that would be like, yeah, I would like an iced tea to go, and I want you specifically to get it.
Yuck. Nope.
For me.
Nope.
And I'm like, Jesus Christ. And what do you do when you're fucking hurting for money and you're a waitress? You gotta do the extra stuff. Like, so that shit's annoying. And I used to get like notes left with my tip from guys. Like, one guy was like, you are so gorgeous, and I think I'm like so in love with you. And I was like,
you don't even know me.
Well, your fucking $3 tip doesn't say you're in love with me.
If
motherfucker.
You actually loved me, you would have left me a $200 tip. First of all, you would
at least
paid
$10. My
you
God,
would have paid my rent if you actually loved me.
At least pay for my fucking makeup or something. My makeup for the day. Yeah. God damn.
Pay for my lunch break. Then we'll talk.
I remember that guy though. He was pretty cute too. And I'm like, you couldn't leave your phone number?
Oh my! How much? I bet he was probably married.
Or like dating somebody anyways. Like, I'm like, bro. But no, I never dated anyone in high school, and honestly, I'm so grateful that I never had a high school relationship because it would have been stupid anyways.
They were
and not
exhausting.
That it's not that like, I mean, a lot of the guys that I went to school with were very, they turned out to be like
good people,
and they were always good people in high school. Just never like assholes or anything like that. I found them very annoying because they were high school boys, and I definitely have that I'm smarter than you mindset.
That's why I was attracted to Dylan, because he wasn't like that.
Yeah, because Dylan is also like I'm smarter than you. Yeah.
Must be genetic.
Yeah. I mean, my grades didn't show how
you were emotionally smarter than other people.
Yes.
You had a better maturity level. Just because you didn't have good grades doesn't mean you weren't smarter than everybody else.
Well, also, I didn't have the love for sports. A lot of people did sports, and they're like, okay, I gotta work on my grades because of that. Or, I actually have a direction I'm going in life, so I need to make sure I can get into a college. That wasn't me, because first of all, I was like, I'm not fucking putting in more than 8 hours of work into this goddamn school. I'm not going to, especially when you don't offer me the things that I want.
Yeah.
In the things that I would actually excel in. I ended up taking AP history because I actually do love history. I'm a history buff. I love history. And combining that, for me, I've learned I just really, really like historical times. That's why I love the Renaissance Fair, but I love historical houses.
Okay.
But AP history was fucking not it for me, because all it was nothing but a bunch of reading and note taking, and I am not the type of person that knows how to take notes. I literally know how to take information off of a book and write it in note form, but my problem is I don't know what information is noteworthy and what's not. So I end up literally rewriting the book in my notes, and it takes me 5 hours. Yeah. So this AP history shit was taking me 5 hours a fucking night because I can't differentiate what's an important thing and what's not.
I could never focus enough on a topic to actually be able to do work outside of school. I would have had to be still at the school, like sitting in the library, like in an environment to do learning. I could never ever do homework at home because it just wasn't.
It was hard for me, all except for geometry. And I have a very geometrical brain. You know how you have like an inner voice in your head?
Yeah.
I don't.
Oh.
I have a voice in my head like maybe half the time when I'm actually thinking about communicating to people.
Do you think in pictures?
I think in literal pictures and things.
Yeah.
And that is why I have to be some kind of interior designer or whatever. Or like, I think
a visual person.
I'm a very visual person. Yeah. So when I look at dimensions of rooms and furniture and things, I literally think in moving puzzles. This is why I'm good at Tetris. This is why I'm good at puzzle pictures. Like, that's how my brain works. So taking geometry in 9th grade, when I did, I was literally able to do the homework before it was even assigned.
Yeah.
Because, you knew at the end of the lesson you had to do the whole chapter review homework, right?
Yeah.
I did that multiple times ahead of time. Just because I was like, I fucking know how to do this, and this is easy shit.
I did that with my English classes, and my GovEcon classes, like anything, because it's funny that you say that you think with pictures and you're like a visual person and you connect that to your like everyday life. Because I'm a very musical person, very creative. I, write stories and shit. And I think with the voices in my head and all my thoughts are sounds and voices, and it's all like stuff like that. So that's weird that you made that connection.
I've always been a writer too. Like, and this is, if you were to ask Mom what I did, she would say Jamie would write and draw. That's what she would do. Yeah. That's what I did in my free time. Entire high school career. I wrote stories. I created stories. But the stories that I created, they weren't words. I would create scenarios in my head and watch them play out.
Do you still have your stories?
I have a lot of them, yeah.
You know what we should do? Because I also still have most of, if not all of, my stories. We should do an episode where we read our stories.
We could read a couple chapters.
Because all of my stories are short stories because I could never.
I don't do short stories.
I could never commit to doing chapter books. I would try, but I could never follow through and actually figure out a story. So all of my stories are short stories.
Okay, see, I'm super committal in that if I'm going to write a story, it's going to be a fucking like Harry Potter like shit where there's going to be 7 books and it's all going to culminate to something in the end. I told my husband, you do, and it pisses me off.
I know.
I told my husband we were dating too that I used to write a lot, and I have a lot of my notebooks. I have my story because I would try to organize my stories, and I would have different scenarios in different pages throughout, so it's kind of all over the place. But I told him that because I started writing, it's one big story that I always have floating in my head every now and then, and I started writing it when I was about 12, and I tried to develop it over time. And then of course when I got into Supernatural, you can tell where it was very Supernatural influenced. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, like now that I'm an adult, I gotta kind of rework that. Yeah. But the magical land was called Catellum. And of course I'd probably change that as an adult because that's a word I created as a 12-year-old. You know?
I mean, it works.
But he had a whole notebook created with a beautiful like scenery on it and a big mountain and stuff because I kind of told him about it, and he had the word Catellum put on it so I could write my story in the notebook. And I haven't even wrote anything in the notebook because I don't want to write some garbage that's not going to go in the story. Like I want it to be like,
write it in like pencil and then you can erase as you want to.
Right, but then at the same time it's like then I have to rip out pages and stuff. Like I'm so afraid to write in this notebook because he took the time to literally make it for me.
I've never ripped pages out of a notebook because I didn't like something.
Oh, I always did that a lot.
I always erase. I cross stuff out. I put little notes. Like my writing, when I actually physically write and I'm not typing stuff, it's very chaotic because there's notes, stuff's highlighted, stuff's crossed out. There's a lot of erase marks. I've learned if I'm writing a story, can never be in pen. Always has to be pencil because I will always fuck up or change my mind.
I always used to write in pencil too. I actually never even developed a liking to write in pen until I started working in an office.
Yeah, I like the feeling of writing in pen and I like the way it looks.
Yeah.
But logically, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah. I was always a pencil drawer too, like a sketcher. So I would have like really light pencil lines and sketching.
It must be nice to be able to fucking draw. I can't.
I wouldn't know because I haven't developed my drawing skills. But I mean, like, if anyone that I went to school with is listening, and I know some of you are because I ran into one of them. Well, one of the girls I went to school with, I ran into her recently. And I know she listens. So you know who you are. Shout out to you if you're still listening, but you're probably not. Because maybe you hate our show. I don't know.
Maybe you hate me. Yeah. Who knows?
She probably hates me. Oh, that's why I never talked to her in high school because she's an idiot. I'm still not going to talk to her.
I don't want one chance. You failed.
Right. And I actually did like her in high school too because she was always one of those people that's, you know, super, super friendly with everybody. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter where you come from. She's going to be your friend in school. She's that kind of person. But yeah, I remember I had one of the guys I went to school with, he actually asked me to draw his poster for him for one of our projects in school, and because I was nice and I felt honored to draw people's shit for them, I was like, yeah, sure. But then at the same time, I was like, well, who's gonna fucking draw my stuff? Like, now I have to draw my stuff too.
That's when you say, okay, you can pay me.
Yeah, I commonly got asked to draw people's things. I remember for one of our dances, I think it was a Winterfest dance. We did a Twilight theme, and it was Eclipse. And me and my friend put together the big sign that said Eclipse. Okay. And it was super scrolly writing. Ooh. And it was blue glitter on black paper. So it's really pretty. Because that's when, Twilight came out. All those years ago. And I do remember I did a lot of yearbook stuff, which is super awesome, makes me really happy because that was creative. And I remember I did it was either the FFA page or I think it was the FFA page, because that's when I was part of FFA, and that's when we were growing the FFA significantly. Okay. Like, we brought it back we fucking dug it up out of the grave
type shit. Yeah.
And brought it back, and it started being a big thing again. And I did the FFA page. Pretty sure it was FFA. And then, we had the blue corduroy jackets. And so the name of the page was Back in Blue, kind of playing on back. And our teacher was like, I really like that. We're keeping that. And I'm like, yep, that's right. I did that. And I designed the X on the back of the yearbook too, where the name was. There was quite a few people, and a couple of the editors were like, yeah, we like that. And then X's got put on every number of the page and stuff too. Because the theme for our senior yearbook was making our mark. So there's X's everywhere.
Yeah.
Fucking X's everywhere. I don't know where the treasure is. Still to this day, I think I'm gonna make a video of it. But I was looking through the yearbook, just showing my husband, oh, this is what I looked like, and I, here's my friends in high school, and here's the guy that I had a crush on in high school. And also, it's really funny too, because my husband's got really high standards. So when I pointed out the guy that I had a crush on in high school, he's like, honestly, of all the guys I've seen in this high school, he's actually the most attractive too. And I'm like, I know, because I have a Leo Venus, and I know what's fucking attractive. Not that other people weren't attractive. I'm just saying. So I thought that was really funny. But I got to a page, and it was the journalism page, I think, maybe. Okay. I can't remember. And here's the thing in journalism: you don't put somebody's fucking face on a crack, on a center,
on a crease.
Yes, you don't do that. Somebody put the biggest picture in that spread, and my face is on the fucking crack.
Oh.
And I kind of want to blast this person for doing that, because the person that actually created that page was the fucking yearbook editor himself.
Oh.
And he went on to be a journalist, and I'm like, oh man, I could show some people the mistakes that you made in making me a crease face. I'm a crease face forever.
Crease face. That's gonna be your name in my phone now.
I seriously thought about making a TikTok and being like, oh, look through my yearbook, and look at, here's all the memories of me in high school. And then I see that and do a flashback to people in high school being, oh, crease face. That's the crease face.
Oh my god.
Because that'd be the funniest shit ever. Yeah. But I'm not gonna say that person's name. But anyone who I went to high school with, I bet you they know exactly who I'm talking about.
One of the girls I went to high school with is having a baby. She was my closest friend when I graduated.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You had a baby first.
I did. No, but I wasn't the first person in my graduating class to have a baby.
Oh, interesting.
Because one of the girls that graduated was pregnant when we graduated.
Oh.
So I wasn't the first.
Wasn't the first, and I'm not the last.
No, definitely not the last.
If you're not first, you are last. So you are last, Mary.
Oh my gosh, that's
funny. If you're
funny.
not first, you're last.
Well, we gotta close this out.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of a little bit of our high school's experience that we didn't really dive into too much as we talked about
more
our take.
Time.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll actually like write down notes and points. We won't dive into relationships because we've already covered that multiple times now.
And apparently we just like to cover like every fucking topic in one episode.
Well, I don't think it's helped that we haven't like sat down and talked like this in a while. So we've got a lot to get out to each other. Yeah. Now that I have my car back, we can actually hang out more now.
Yeah. Get in, bitch. We're going podcasting. I
want to plan like a girls' day where we like actually go out and
do
something. Even if we don't like go out and buy stuff, just walk around, get out of the house, get the girls together.
Bro, I want to go to the Salvation Army.
I also want to go to Salvation Army. I want to go to Hobby Lobby. I want to get coffee. I just want to. We could go to like our crystal store.
Yeah, I'm definitely not going to take my toddlers in there. Right. I can't do that.
That's fine.
But yeah, Hobby Lobby is a good option. I don't know, anywhere. I also need to get out
of the house.
The thing, okay, I was telling my husband because we just recently had our anniversary. Mm-hmm. Which, you know, I'm very grateful for, and for this year was leather, which I brought it. I wanted to show you real quick.
Okay.
Wow, so this is not closing out the episode. No, we just love listening to ourselves talk. But look at that.
Oh, I love that.
So the third anniversary is leather. You know, the first one is paper, the second one's cotton, and the third one is leather.
Okay.
So my husband, because we got married under the Tree of Life in New Orleans, occasionally he'll get me Tree of Life stuff. So he got me a leather tarot box, and it's got the Tree of Life engraved on it.
Oh my gosh.
And yeah, so it's a really, really nice quality box too.
That
it's got
is gorgeous.
Yeah, little magnet lock and everything. Speaking of anniversary gifts, I'm just gonna put it on my blog and I'll link it below. But it's
I planned a whole episode where we can talk about it.
Oh, okay,
Google
cool.
Docs. I literally have the next month filled out on that Google Doc.
Oh, okay. So I should probably utilize that more like you do.
Asshole.
Maybe I don't know everything.
I made it like 2 weeks ago too.
God damn it. So we'll be getting into that then on a later episode and have a nice list for you on other things you can get your spouse. But that was our gift this year. And we'll go into that. Like, I have stories about the gifts that my husband's got for me because he is so creative and it's very exciting getting a gift from him. But I forgot why I brought that up. I don't know. So yeah, it was just recently my anniversary. Yeah. So we'll talk about anniversaries later on in an episode. And then I had something else.
Did you?
I did. I don't have it anymore. It's here and then it's gone. So with that, I guess we're gonna skedaddle. Thanks for listening, and we'll try to be a little more. Okay, you know what? I am gonna be self-aware and accountable. I will try to be a little more organized next time. See, Mary is the organized one here. A
lot of my disorganization is when you say something and a reference pops into my head. That's when my disorganization comes into mind.
I've had to learn to not do that because I used to do that a lot.
I'm still working on it. There was a lot that I held back this time. You're welcome. But there's a lot of jokes, and that's something that in Dylan's podcast he was talking about how he like has a love-hate relationship when I do that. Like, he thinks it's funny, but also it's irritating at the same time when he says something and I just like make a reference back. Like recently when somebody asks a question, like when somebody says like, oh, why does it smell like that? I go, it's gotta be Tony, because of a TikTok thing. It's not a TikTok thing, but it's going around on TikTok right now. It's a Tony Hawk movie. And I don't know what the context is, but like Tony Hawk and like 2 other people are stuck in a cave. And the one guy says, God, it smells like pee-pee and poo-poo in here. And the other guy says, it's got to be Tony. And then the first guy goes back to say, no, seriously, why does it smell like caca and wee-whiz in here?
I fucking love that audio so much.
He hates it when I reference it. And then he'll ask a question and I just go, it's got to be Tony. And Anyways,
I love saying that when like both my kids have shit their diapers. I'm like, why does it smell like poo poo and pee pee in here?
I said that at work the other day because
like
I walked into our bathroom and it smelled awful in there. So I go, no, seriously, why does it smell like caca and wee whiz in here?
Does it smell like caca and wee whiz in here?
Bathroom idiot. I hated that in high school when you're using the bathroom and somebody walks in and they go, oh my god, it smells like shit. Yeah,
it's you're in a bathroom. Oh my god. Okay, so real quick before we head on out, I have the story of Olga. And to this day, we don't know who created this monstrosity. But the women's bathroom right off the cafeteria, somebody walked in there and took a massive shit. And I mean, this shit was as big, like the girth was as big as his microphone. Fucking huge.
That had to hurt.
Yes, like huge. So
it's a girthy shit.
Yes. Like your asshole had to have ripped apart. So it's this massive shit. And then it was the talk of the day. And I think the next couple days. And it was named Olga because it was the biggest shit. And it didn't go down. Like it was in the toilet. So it will, at least for that day. And I'm like, dude, we should start setting up a red carpet for this thing. And like, you know, like whatever. Those like red things that you put next to carpet.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
I forgot what.
And like charge people to see it, like it's a fucking circus. So that's something that happened in our high school, which is astonishing because there's another kid that I went to high school with who, you know, would always take a shit right before coming to 5th hour math, and he's like, "Sorry, I was late. I was pooping." And you know, I have to poop at school because these fucking toilets will eat a turkey. Like these toilets will eat anything. Apparently not Olga. Apparently not Olga.
Apparently not Olga.
Yeah. Did not eat Olga. So there's a toilet story for you guys from school. So that's the shit that we talked about in high school.
Yeah. I was so out of the loop for high school that I don't really have any stories. I do have stories, but not for right now because I really have to get ready for work.
We really gotta leave. Yeah. I really gotta go.
Bye!